Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Push Power to Power Show live. We're here live with your host, Jesus Ortiz. And for my people that are going to watch every visual and for my people that are going to listen to this later audio in the podcast, I hope you enjoy the show today. This is the second part of Big Stick Spirits. And I wanted to have a I wanted to have a second part because the first one I did it only with Mike Ryan, and today I wanted to do it with Mike and his partner, and I wanted him to. We're gonna talk a little bit about, a little bit about both of themselves, tell them where they came from and stuff like that. But we're gonna the most important topic today is gonna be the challenges of them and us as myself being a small business. How are we thriving through COVID? How are we pushing ourselves? We're not actually sitting down and be like, oh my God, we just gonna wait and let this pass and we just start all over on 2021. But not a lot of us here in Houston, Texas. We are thriving and we're finding a way and adapting and seeing different ways. How can we lift each other up and help give us a hand and more people to know each other? We're not actually sitting here and waiting and being like, okay, waiting for a handout or waiting for something to change. As you know, it's a new world out there, and even if we say that it's gonna get back to normal, it's not normal anymore. So we had to keep on adapting. We kind of not kind. We're gonna have to push ourselves a little bit more work, a little bit more smart work too, and sit down and realizing that we ain't going back to what it was before. Man, you already seen a lot of these places shutting down. A lot of mom and pops restaurants just about to some of them I know here in Houston, they're like, hey, we're closing down. We're not going to open again. And it's like, it's sad because, I mean, we lived through that. We went through those restaurants, and now putting ourselves and being like, man, we're not going to go to that restaurant again. It's just like, sad to know that all of this caused a big chaos, a big hole, or whatever you want to call it. But hey, man, the world is still going around, the money's still making out there, so we cannot just give up for nothing. We still got to collaborate and push our share out there, like I just said. And I'm just happy to have them here in my second part of the show, Mike Ryan and his partner Joe Baker. And guys, don't forget to on YouTube, guys, don't forget the Tinkerbell, like I call it. Don't forget the Tinkerbell, subscribe, and push the bell so you don't miss any content. The same with Facebook. Don't forget to push the all notifications so you get notified when I'm doing anything that I'm doing. There's a lot of projects that I'm coming, that I'm gonna start doing. A lot of things are going like very right, and I'm just excited and blessed. And but I'm gonna be quiet and I'm gonna get them in here because I can't wait to talk to them, and you can learn a little bit about their small business. And this called Big Stick Spirits. It's a bourbon whiskey, so they're gonna tell you a little bit about that, their stories, and the challenges with what they're having with COVID. So I'm gonna get them in here, and let's get it on, guys. Boom. At the stream. Hey, guys.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you today?
Good, man. Good blessed Monday today, August the 24th.
Indeed. Beautiful
Indeed.
day.
Oh yeah, I'm just happy to have you now. Have you Joe today because I know I did Mike and we did it live. We actually did it at the Shriver spot, so that was an amazing.
Right.
But when you're back here to Houston, we're gonna make that happen, Joe.
Sounds good. I would definitely like to do that, and hopefully I'll be back to Houston before too terribly long. Things are certainly busy and happening right now. And then, of course, looking at the weather this morning, I see that, two storms, one in the Gulf, one approaching the Gulf. So definitely hope that certainly you guys there in the Houston area and then everybody else on the Gulf Coast are safe here the next few days because hurricane season is definitely going to visit upon us.
That is true. I really don't watch too much of the news, but I started hearing about these storms, and I was like, let me pay attention. And then I heard Marco and then Laura, and I was like, okay, let's pay a little bit of attention to that.
Well, you have to. We, here in Florida, we definitely keep an eye on the weather very often.
I think that's the only thing that it's funny that you say that a lot of my friends are like, man, you always watching the news, but you're not paying attention. What else? I'm like, man, I always pay attention to the weather. And even though they're sometimes not right, but I'm still paying attention to the weather.
Yeah, you have to. You definitely have to.
Oh man. But hey, let's start with you, Joe, since we didn't had you last time here. So the audience is already watching us. Just start a little bit about telling about who you are and how you met Mike Ryan, that you're partnered each other, and let's get started with that.
Okay, sounds good. My name's Joe Baker, and Mike and I have been friends for, I'll probably get the number wrong, but a very long time, 20 plus years. And our wives were actually best friends, and I think junior high, high school, college, and on. And we met through our spouses, and we've just been very good friends ever since, and have stayed in touch over the years. I was in the Marine Corps for almost 21 years, so I moved around a lot and didn't get to see the Ryans quite as much as we would have liked, but still definitely were able to stay in touch. And then in December of 2018, we met up in New Orleans for New Year's Eve. And Mike and I had been talking a little bit about starting a bourbon, and really his idea. I mean, Mike definitely gets the credit for originating this idea, and want to make everybody very clear that he's a very smart man and a very smart engineer. So, that engages, or that permits, an awful lot of problem solving and problem prevention on our technical side. But we talked about this and thought this is a good idea. This is something that can work. And by January of 2019, we had become an actual business. We had incorporated. And then by December of 2019, after a lot of hard work, we actually had our first production run of bourbon, and we were in the stores by, I think, late February of 2020.
Yeah, just before COVID.
We got there just in time for COVID. Every story has a challenge. And in fact, right. I think if there's not a challenge, maybe it's not a very good story. But fortunately, we were able to get into some of the stores and start establishing our brand presence, where customers could actually come out and taste and purchase our bourbon and enjoy our bourbon. And then, as Mike said, COVID hit, so we've had to kind of adjust, adapt, and overcome to that, and that's okay. We're convinced that we have a great product. We've got a great mission. And we will just keep, persevering and pushing on through this. And, like so many other people in business, I wish I knew what tomorrow may hold, but we will just face each challenge as it comes.
And you're right, man. It is a great product. I mean, the first time when I met Mike and tried it, I was like, whoa. And it was like 10 a.m. in the morning. It's like, hey, 5 o'clock somewhere.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Absolutely.
And I just want to tell you guys, I have here the bottle. So look, I'm already halfway.
Half an hour.
Just in case Laura comes,
Absolutely. Just in case.
Well, the optimist, it's still half full.
That's right.
Still half full. Yeah. But let's talk about a little bit about you, Mike. I know the audience know a little bit about yourself, but you can just, explain a little bit about, how you met him and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was through our wives. Like I said, our wives have been friends since junior high days here in Texas. And it's close to 30 years now, Joe, not 20. So we're getting old.
Oh, I hate to use that word. I wasn't talking about bourbon, of course, but
hopefully a little wiser. But yeah, we've been in touch for years and years and years. And you're getting on in your career and you decide, well, what else is there to do? What kind of challenges can you can you go after? And we looked at each other and said, well, we have a couple different hobbies, let's pick one. And we settled on the bourbon, and we started experimenting. And like I said, everybody, it's a great business because when you start experimenting, you get to drink all your mistakes. So that's kind of where we started. And we tried hundreds of different recipes. I even worked as an apprentice at a local distillery for a while, nights and weekends to learn the craft.
Are you still there, Mike? I think he'll be back. I guess.
Okay, okay.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. So after labor intensive, then you realize that's great. As an engineer, my tendency is let's build it and sell it. And of course, that's where Joe comes in, because it's nowhere near that simple. Because if you think it's hard with the engineering and the chemistry, try the law and the regulations. So, Joe is, attached to my hip sometimes with legal questions and legal issues, and he's a brilliant attorney. He's kind of soft spoken, but let me tell you what, if there's any legal question anytime, anywhere, we couldn't have done it without him. We started the federal permitting process also before COVID. There was a government shutdown, so if you remember, so he managed to navigate us through that process with federal permits and licenses and background checks and on and on and on, like you can't believe. Through the government shutdown, some people take 2 to 3 years just to get all the paperwork in order. We were done in about 9 months. So that's to his credit, because that was him all the way.
Wow. And that's when you told me that, I was like, that's tough, because I remember that government shutdown. Well, there's been so many now. And yeah. And because they never try to get everything done when they need
That's
to, like
right.
right now with COVID and all of them, they're saying they're gonna shut down again. I was like, whatever. That's what sometimes I tell people, don't, like I was saying, the handouts and stuff, like we just want the help from the government, but it's like if they're their big father, they're our big papa. But I mean, we got to think about us spreading ourselves out there and just kind of being us. We're the big papa. We cannot just be waiting for a handout or be helping or this and that. We have to find a way, because if we stay, it's like I was saying, this COVID, yes, a lot of people are hurting and they're waiting for a handout or they're waiting for this, and it's like, we can't wait for that. You got to go find a way.
Right.
You can't just sit down here, and I can be here sitting down in my chair for days and be like, it's December. I'm like, well, I can wait another day. I'm like, no, man, you can't.
Oh, if you don't call them, you could be waiting months for approval. Months.
No, self-sufficiency is definitely a key in business and in life. And, you've got to find ways to, most likely you will solve your own problems better than somebody will solve them for you. And you can't be afraid to explore, creative solutions. And, it's very easy for people to tell you no. And sometimes no might be the wrong answer. A lot of times no is the convenient answer. And you've got to be prepared to push back and drive on and get past no when it's just the convenient answer. And when it is the right answer, okay, fine. Let's adjust, adapt, and overcome again. And let's just find a way to get to where we need to be. And that's something, fortunately, Mike and I think an awful lot alike in those terms. I mean, we stay very focused on how are we going to move ahead. And between the two of us, we have so far been successful at it. And granted, we're still new in this business, but it looks like we're going to have a successful run going ahead, which is very exciting. I mean, I really like working on this. It's an exciting business to be in, and we're having a good time with it. And it's also allowing us to pursue, I'm sure Mike talked about on the last interview, but it allows us to pursue our charitable mission as well. And one of the things that we had agreed on, very early on, we both had successful careers. We've been blessed in life and in careers, and we do just fine. And life has been very good. But, one of the things I had shared with Mike from my military time was watching the struggles that young men and women and their families face, especially our junior enlisted, that are very young in life. And the struggles, there's the demands upon them are many. And while their pay has certainly improved over the years, their benefits have, it's still a challenge. I mean, it can be a challenging life, and God bless them for everything they do. I mean, the sacrifices they make, the challenges they take on. And, if you haven't really seen that up close and personal, it's really hard to appreciate. But there are times when they just face financial difficulties. And it might be that, a family member has passed away back home and they need to get home to be with family, or someone is sick, or someone has lost a job. I mean, it can be any number of things, but because of the way the military moves around the world, they don't always have the immediate resources of family close at hand the way other people might have. And so one of the things that we said very early on in our business was that we were going to donate 5% of our profit to various charities that support military members and their families. And, that's very exciting. And to send that check off to one of the charities and tell them, here's what we're doing, and just please put this to the best use that you can. And we feel very good about that. We intend to keep doing that for as long as we're in business.
And we have a friend of yours right now here. Good morning, Phil. Phil Kurtz.
Hey.
Yep. He
He
said,
joined us at the tasting this weekend.
oh, yeah. He said, I will be taking a bottle of Big Stick Bourbon to Camp Pendleton on September 11th for my new
Oh my
Marine.
gosh.
It's the only thing he asked me to bring on our visit.
Outstanding. I've been to Camp Pendleton in a long time.
And he is over 21, so it's okay.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He's over 21.
He's over 21. Yes, he did.
He went to college. He went to college first, and then he joined the Marine Corps, and he just got a new MOS. So he's looking to work in service of helicopter mechanics, something along those lines. But anyways, great. I met him in person. Great kid. Got a lot of spunk. He'll do just fine.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's get into the big and deep on it. How are we right now in COVID? I know the struggles and everything. So other businesses that are looking at us right now, they're like, whoa, man, we're struggling. But I mean, you're a small business yourself, and I know you're struggling, but like I said, you're not giving up. You're finding a ways. Like I found Mike. We found a way to collaborate. I support him. He did his thing on a Longhorn on Saturday. I was there. He sold about 21 bottles there that day. So it was amazing. That was an amazing accomplishment. So, and you were there and you're supporting. And I saw him. He's on the move. He's on the road. He was coming in, and people were coming in. People were trying it and checking it out. And they were like, you know what? Let me take it. They were like, I'll take one. And it's tough and hard right now with people being like, I take one, because they don't want to be spending money right now, because they're like, a little bit that I have is for the rent or this. But people are still, like I said, the world is still going on. So people are still going to keep on buying, just like us.
Yeah, one of Joe's friends is in the restaurant business, and we spend a great deal of time with him, and he really gave us some great advice. And he's also introduced us to other people. And when we explain our mission to them, they say, I'll help you. I'll give you some advice, which normally we'd either have to pay a lot of money for, or we would never get to talk to them. So we've been very fortunate to do that by the fact that our story, gets people to open up to us. And one of the things that one of these gentlemen said is, you build a brand one drink at a time. Doesn't matter who you are, you got to do the blocking and tackling. So that's what we're doing. We're doing the grunt work to get it out there. Yes, you have to have all the engineering, and you have to have all the legal stuff correct. But at the same time, you still got to do all the blocking and tackling. And so we're very familiar with doing grunt work. We're not afraid to get our hands dirty, talk to people, and do what we have to do, to meet people one at a time and show them what it's all about and give them a taste, and then, tell their friends. So one of the things I do, which is real simple, every time I meet somebody, I say, hey, like us on Facebook. Please tell your friends about us on Facebook, because, that's one way you get around a lot of the tasting, because if somebody, I tasted this, but 4 other people didn't, that may be enough, to convince them to go search it out.
That's amazing. And Mike, what do you think about that, Joe? With this COVID, I know both of you are together, have meetings almost every time, and be like, what's our next moves? What's our next step? What can we do? We're about to hit September.
Well, we've certainly been impacted by COVID. Now, maybe not as much as other brands have, just because of the way our business model works. But by the same token, we're still trying to pull our products through our supply chain to, put more bourbon in the bottle. And, now the good news is certainly the big manufacturers that are out there that supply us with our, our bottles, our labels, et cetera, they're still all in business, but things have slowed down. And so we're still, we're working through all that. And, the good news is most of these businesses will probably be intact when all is said and done. Most Americans, they want to work. They want to be successful. They're not backing away from this. So, that's a good thing. I mean, it's obviously an intangible, but it's a very good thing. The strength of the American worker is such a beautiful thing. So that always, even though times may be challenging, you look at things like that, we're going to come through this on the other side just fine. I don't know what the other side looks like. I'll see it when I get there, but I just know that it will be fine when all is said and done. So we're working through those challenges, and we're starting to see, thankfully, where the liquor stores are now starting to permit, the wet tasting. For a while, Mike was going into the stores and would do what was being called a dry tasting, where he would stand there with the bottle and would describe it, talk to people about it, describe our history, describe our mission, and would still sell very well. Mike's also a salesman. He's one of those guys that he gets the first sale, that just builds a little more energy. Then he gets the second sale, that builds more energy. And he just keeps going. I mean, it's like, most people, as they do stuff, they get tired. Mike makes sales, he gets energy. He just keeps adding on. So it's very dynamic to watch, and I enjoy that. But now that we're starting to, have the wet tastings open up again, now people can actually taste the product. And that's very good for us because, they know whether they're going to like it right then and there. And we've had a very, very positive response to our product. And also, too, when somebody tastes it, they look at you and they say, wow, that's really good. I mean, let me tell you, you get a great feeling. I mean, there is you certainly feel a measure of pride just that you were able to make this and now share this with somebody, and hopefully they're going to take it home and they're going to share it with, friends, family, whomever. And, I mean, I won't speak for everybody, but I know that so many of the memories I have in my life of positive experiences, invariably they involve sitting around a table with maybe some food and with a cocktail or a drink or something. And you're interacting with, your friends, your family, maybe new friends, whomever it is. And the fact that we can be a part of that by providing, part of the mix, providing the bourbon for people to enjoy and talk about, that's a very good thing. And we feel very proud about that we're getting the response we are. And then, we also like the fact that people will support us in our charitable endeavors, to make good things happen for our, members of the military and their families.
One of the stories, I'd like to share was about a year or so ago. I was with Joe, and we were on the base in the NX Naval Exchange store, and we were looking at other bourbons and comparing prices and different product placements on the shelf. And after we got done doing our shopping, we walked outside, and there was a fender bender. No big deal, just a little fender bender in the parking lot. And one of the sailors, dressed in their uniform, I think it was the right front fender, some minivan, was obsessing over this little ding in the fender. And I said to Joe, well, it can't be that bad. It's probably only a few $100s in damage. And he goes, got to remember, some of these folks, that car is the greatest asset that they own. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
They got their rucksack and they got their car, and that's their only asset. So to me, it's kind of like a reset on your level. When you're thinking about, a couple $100 to me in a fender bender, it's like, oh, okay, let's get on with life. And to them, it's like, oh, it's a pretty major deal. Where am I going to come up with some money to fix that? So
that's a good story right there, Mike, because just like we all think about, we're all different and stuff. We're like, it's just a fender bender. Oh, it's just,
right.
Oh, it's just the sofa at home. You're like, you don't know how much you care about that sofa or
right.
that chair, but we don't know them. That's why it's always good to know a little bit about other people, ask them questions. There's no stupid questions. Right. It's always good to get that feedback from everybody. Be like, all right, let me write it down. So next time when I'm at your house, I know that that's your favorite sofa or, that your favorite TV, because that's what matters to you. It's like, that's your baby. That's what matters to you, the big stick, the bourbon. So you have to take care of it. And it's the business.
and helping people out like that when they need it, that's our business too. So
that's very right. So how's over there in Florida, Joe? You're in Florida, though, right?
I am. Yes, I am. I'm in Northeast Florida. Things are good. I like living here. I miss Texas, but it's nice to live here. We're close to the coast, which is fun. It's easy to go to the beach, to go swim, go surf. When the hurricanes show up, we're also close to the coast, so you get to experience that. But that's okay. I've lived on the coast most of my adult life, so and after a while, you've seen so many hurricanes, you just you take them for what they are. If it's really, really serious, you evacuate. And if it's not going to be that bad, you hunker down, you ride it out, you get on with it. That's just all there is. But no, it's good here. Our bottler, in fact, we bottle here in Jacksonville, Florida, and we work with a local distillery here, Citrus Distillery, and got a very positive business relationship with them. Again, another small business, and we all stick together to make things happen here, and it's really nice.
So is the big stick selling over there too in Florida?
Not yet.
Not yet,
Not
right?
yet. That's the next thing we're working on. In fact, I'm working with lining up a distributor here in Florida, so that we can come to Florida next. We're actually planning our next production run, and so we anticipate part of that run is going to stay here in Florida, and I think we'll do rather well here. So I've had a few of my friends here. I've got bottles that I purchased when I was back in Texas. So for my friends here, we've had some tastings and in my house, and we're getting a very positive response here, with my friend group. So I think we will do well in Florida, much like we're doing in Houston and or in Texas.
So we're first here, Mike. So Texas is first.
Texas is first. Yep. Texas is first.
So we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make sure that this bourbon goes in a lot of people, because I know a lot of people right now like drinking whiskey. Like I used to. I mean, back in my age. I mean, I'm 34, but when I was at college and stuff, I used to be a tequila. Now I don't even like tequila. It's like those stories that back in the day. Like y'all remember your stories when you went to college?
Sure.
It's like I just can't stand it. The only tequila that I can drink is Don Pedro. No, not Don Julio. That's my best
Julio.
tequila.
It's very nice. Yes.
That's the one. But anything else is like when I go to friends and they're like, take a shot, I'm like, oh man, that's like just the smell of it. You're like, it takes me back to 18 or 19. I was like, no, but whiskey is another thing. I can go anywhere and be like, hey, let me have that on the rocks. And it's just like, I don't know, it just sit down and take it on the rocks, and it's just good. That's how I take it here at home. Just put a little bit of there.
That's part of the story of how we got started. Years ago, I traveled a lot like Joe, but for business. And I was in 40 out of 50 states across America, where I'd leave, on a Sunday afternoon and come back, midnight on Friday. And I did that for years and years. So I was gone, through all kinds of states, all kinds of weather, summer, winter, snowstorms, hurricanes. And I mounted to a large collection. I had a couple hundred bottles at home. And then my wife said, you got to get rid of these. You have too many. It looks like a mess. So, and she was right, and it's okay. And so I started sampling them, and I realized after a while, it's like, some of them just aren't that great. Just variety doesn't mean good, So I started to whittle it down and figured out there were a few, good ones that I really liked, and then said, in my head, it just popped in my head. I said, I can do better. And that's kind of how that came about. I thought I could do better. And that's when I talked to Joe about it. And he said, I'm in. It took about 3 seconds to convince him. He says, I'm in.
It's funny that you said something, Joe, right now. I don't know who said it. That said we're taking it 1 year at a time. Right before we got into the show, I was watching a video on YouTube, and the guy that was going in there, he said, everybody wants to take marriage and say, oh, how we're gonna be from here in 5-10 years together. He's like, no, he's like, how I take marriage? I said, a year at a time.
Yep.
Because you improve yourself. It was like you improve yourself in 1 year. Both of you improve. Both of you have dreams. Both of you have different opinions. So both of you have to run, but a year at a time, instead of thinking of 5, 10, 15 years, take it small, a year at a time. So, and that just opened up my mind. It is true. Sometimes we want to take everything and go boom. Yes, truthfully, you got to dream big and go big for it. But after you dream big for it, you got to take it out, like cut it into that pace, 1 year at a time. and then we have
Right.
12 months. What are we doing in January, February? What the team is doing? What is this? Boom, boom, and like you say, what time flies.
Right. Yeah.
It does.
Some of the management training that I've received really has been very, very good over the years. Meeting some pretty high powered people, which is kind of nice. And one of them was an executive in a major oil company, and he told me, CEOs have certain abilities, and you have to have these abilities if you want to succeed. And one of them is, yes, you have to look at the big picture. So you have to pull back and look at everything that's going on and plan sometimes for many years ahead. But at the same time, what he told me, which is kind of interesting, he says a good CEO also has the ability to hyper focus. If there's one problem and it's nagging you, then you should have the ability to focus on that one little problem and figure it out and basically filter out all the other noise. Because until that problem gets solved, it's a kink in the chain or something, your life isn't going to be right. So you go from the big zoom out picture to the hyper focus, figure it out, get somebody to take care of it, make it work, and then you can go zoom out to the higher level again. And I thought that was really interesting to learn that.
I hope that the listeners, got that, because while y'all watching here, I know how we had like 3 people and I went up to 25, 30, just going up. We got more audience right now. So what you're listening, just don't take it and see how you can put it in one aspect of your life. Either you took it, like you said, about the CEO, something that you took and you put it on, like if it was spiritual, right, or something that's going to help you somewhere in an aspect of your life. Just I see it this way, because when I do my shows, I watch so many other shows and I sit down and I'm like, all right, I'm going to take that. That's going to help me to do my next show, or it's going to help me through my day to day. So I just don't take it just to listen and then just forget it. No, man, there's valuable lessons.
A lot of value in that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Joe, so you're a lawyer, right? So
I am.
Was that when you went to school, was that what you really wanted, or it just went in that you went into that?
Well, it was one of those things. I had thought about being a lawyer off and on for many years, growing up. And I graduated college, got commissioned in the Marine Corps, and went off on active duty. I became a field artillery officer for several years. And the Marine Corps, actually, all the branches have a program where you can apply to go to law school and become a judge advocate in your branch. And I was very fortunate to be selected. I really did not expect to be selected, but I was. So the Marine Corps sent me to law school for 3 years, and graduated law school, passed the bar exam, and then continued on with my military career. So I did that for about another 13 years in the Marine Corps, and then I retired in 2006. And just it was an incredible opportunity to for me and for my family, because probably was not going to be able to afford law school, or at least it would have been very difficult to have afforded law school on my own. And it also allowed me to stay in the Marine Corps. I was having a great time doing it and didn't really want to get out. So it really worked out very well for me. And then, way back when, if you would have asked me then, do you think you'll be in the bourbon business someday? I would have laughed and said, I don't think so. But lo and behold, I look at where this all has taken me, and it's been a good thing because, in our business, it's a very highly regulated business at the federal level and the state level. And I, spend a lot of time on the evenings and weekends reading these different federal and state regulations and federal and state laws, trying to kind of make sense of it and figure out how do we operate inside these so that we can maximize our business and still meet all of our compliance requirements. So, I guess I'm one of those weird people. I actually think that's kind of fun, but it is what I do.
But that is great though, because I know there's so many laws and stuff. But like Mike said, he was the one that went out there and helped.
It's incredible.
Without him, it would have been like, man, we would have probably waited 2 to 3 years, and it would have changed the path maybe. But now with being you the lawyer and helping each other out, that's just like it's a team. It's what I always say. You gotta.
It really is. It's a partnership. You're tied at the hip.
Yeah, and we've got a great team. Thankfully too, Mike and I think a lot alike. I mean, we're in agreement on every big issue. We haven't had probably the the closest we've come to a disagreement is, where do you want to eat lunch today? I mean, for all the business stuff, we just,
Yeah.
we both want the exact same things, and we move forward. And those have all been, really very simple. So I think that's for anybody who's, planning a business, if you're going to have a business partner, you better make sure that it's somebody that you get along with really well, and it's somebody that, complements your skills, and it's somebody that can challenge you. And you've got to, each challenge each other, and you've got to play devil's advocate occasionally, and ask well, if we do this, what if this happens? What does that look like? Because every day is not going to be perfect. I mean, there will be challenges, and once you start, if people start fighting amongst themselves, you got a problem.
Right.
That's going to be a bad thing. And thankfully, we're not doing that. We get to a problem and we start talking about, okay, here's where we got to get to. Here are what some solutions look like, and then we just start going down, what seem like the pros and cons of each of those. And then at some point, you're never going to have perfect information. You're never going to, be guaranteed an outcome. You're going to have to take on some level of business risk. And, we do that. And, there's a little bit of hope for the best at times. I mean, you make an educated decision, but, I guarantee you, somewhere in this world, somebody, opened a brand new restaurant or a brand new coffee shop or a brand new something, and 2 days later, COVID hit. And, they might have or had, hopefully have, a great product or a great idea or whatever. And lo and behold, COVID hit and they had to adapt. And, I hope for their sake that, they did adapt and they are succeeding. But, that's been hard, for a lot of businesses. And, I know in Houston, and I know we've seen it here in Jacksonville, not everybody's staying in business.
Yeah.
And, and it may be the situation. I mean, but you've just got to be prepared to deal with that as best you can.
Yeah, and for us, really, as far as COVID goes, and the point of this discussion is, our supply chain. There's a lot of moving parts. It's not just the bottle or the bourbon. It's the services, it's the labels, it's the tops. The legal requirement is you also have to have a tamper-proof strip or a shrink wrap capsule or something like for tamper-proof for counterfeit liquor, and it just goes on and on and on. And so even the other day, I went I was having lunch with a friend in the Galleria area, and I wanted to talk to one of our vendors for logistics and shipping pallets back and forth from Florida to Texas. And I said, "Can I meet with you?" And he said, "My office is 2 blocks away, but I can't meet with you because I'm the only one in the office. Everyone else is working remotely. So we'll just have to postpone for another day." So even if you can get people that want to work with you, that doesn't mean necessarily everything's going to happen fast.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's very true. And it's like we're talking right now. See how the technology, like yourselves, and I met a lot of other businesses that they're like, wow, they knew about Zoom, they knew about this, but they didn't know much in depth. Like now they sit down with me, they're like, wow, man, you're like, you have to have some kind of a feet wet on not only in social media, but on the things that are out there that you got to do virtually. Now, especially now with everything that is going on, it's like everything is going virtually. Everything. Now you can go to Amazon, and if Amazon picks you, you can do this kind of videos through Amazon, and you can start selling the books or whatever you're selling. I didn't even know that until I saw one of my friends do that, because they picked him as like an influencer. And I was like, man, we think sometimes we know everything, but we don't know. There's so many things out there. We have to start learning. We got to push out there. If we're going to go virtual, because we see that it's going on, especially now that COVID is still rising and stuff like that. We have to find a way here. There's ways that you can sell through here. There's ways that you can collaborate. There's ways that we can sign a contract, whatever. There's so many ways. There's nothing impossible.
Right. And as far as your business and podcasting goes, I think years ago we had this thing. In fact, many moons ago, I knew the guy that wrote the business plan for the OnStar for GM and cars. That was earth-shattering, because it was the first time you could communicate, through a car for emergency services with the OnStar, many moons ago. And now you have GPS in the car and this and that, but Howard Stern was he got a big deal when he went to the various broadcasting services, and now podcasting. Joe Rogan, and podcasting, and he's the pioneer, and you're going to be one of the beneficiaries because it's a new way to advertise. Because we're not going to spend $50,000 for a single page in the Wall Street Journal, because that's just not going to happen. So we have to grow at a measured pace, which makes sense. And I think Joe and I agreed a long time ago that we're going to do the ink spot or the oil spot methodology, where you start with one drop and then it slowly spreads and spreads and spreads. And that's what we're doing with that. And since then, with this ink spot in the Houston market, we've had requests from Galveston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, etc. And so we are growing. Out of the blue the other day, we got a request from the Iowa Alcohol Beverage Commission. We want to start, buying cases in Iowa. So it's, it just out of the blue. So it happens.
Phil asked the question. He said, "Can you tell us about your recipe? Is it different from other bourbons?"
Oh, sure. Yeah, actually, it is different. And again, starting a business too, use Wikipedia, use your research. You can find this out. We spend a lot of time researching other people's recipes. And, what I found out is there's, give or take, there's 3 major recipes for bourbon across America. The 51% corn, 77% corn, and 99% corn. And then the rest is the other normal ingredients that you'd find. Well, what we did is in our experimentation, we found a totally different recipe that works for us. Now, legally, yes, it's still bourbon. It's a minimum 51% corn. And that has to be, and Joe will tell you, there's how many federal approvals for bourbon? There's the federal, then there's the label. I don't even, how many?
We have to get the label approved, the formula approved, at both the federal and the state level. So you've got just 4 right there for one single product. And then if you want to change anything,
start all over.
You roll back through the process again. And if you want to produce a different size bottle, so the common size is the 750 milliliter bottle, and then the next most common is the 1.75 milliliter. You can also get a 1 liter bottle, but anytime you want to change to a different size bottle, you've got to run back through the process again. And it's not, those approvals aren't hard to come by if all you're doing is just changing your bottle size. But by the same token, you got to go back through. You've got to get their stamp of approval before you can do that. And, be kind of like, in your business, if you said, hey, I want to change microphones. If you want to change microphones, you go buy a new microphone, you plug it in, and you have at it. For us, it's like, no, you got to get the federal government, the state government to tell you can do that. And and that's not a terrible thing. There's good in that, but it's just, you just have to account for that, in your planning. And so, one of the things that, if you have a business that really takes off, it's almost like you can be too successful as a small business and your star can flame out. And so that's one of the things we're keeping track of also. Everybody wants to be wildly successful, but if we start selling more than we can produce, we have a problem. And, it seems like that would be a good problem, but when your customer base, your liquor stores, your restaurants are calling you and saying, where's my bottles? And the answer is, hold on, soon. That's not a great answer for people in the service industry. They want to know it's coming right now. And so that's something else that, as we look at our supply chain, we're making sure that we can pull product through the supply chain so we can stay even with or a little ahead of the demand for our product.
That is true, because every different product, like you said, the mic and everything, goes through a different situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I know liquor is more tough because you got to go, like you said, all these laws, all these things from state and federal. And that's was something new that I learned, because I always thought, oh, liquor, they do this and then it's out, But no, when Mike started telling me this, I was like, whoa, I was like, I never knew you got to go in depth into make sure that it's there. And then after that, you got to go to this. And I was like,
And there's
whoa,
a whole nother separate license for restaurants and bars. It's not the same as for liquor stores.
oh, whoa. I know it's expensive. I asked one of the,
A different license.
yeah,
Yeah.
the license is expensive to get because I remember I used to work at a restaurant. I used to be a bartender. So I remember when I asked the owner, they're like, no, it takes time to get the license and it's this how much it costs for me to get it. So I was like, whoa, I was like, that's why it takes, that's why I see it now when some restaurants open and they're not selling any liquor or anything, they're still waiting for that process for the license.
Yeah. Well, out here in Florida, in fact, it's very difficult for a restaurant to get a liquor license. Now, beer and wine is simpler, but it is normally it's a lottery process, and they issue a certain number of permits for restaurants based on the population of the county. And so, if the county population increases, they will hold a lottery to issue one, two, however many more new licenses,
Right.
and you've got to win that lottery. The other option is you buy out an existing restaurant with a liquor license. And of course, guess what? You pay a premium for that.
Hmm.
So, in every state, I mean, there's very common principles at the federal and the state level, but each state, in some cases, even counties, regulate this with varying degrees of strictness or laxness, just depending on whatever it is they're trying to get to, and everything about it is regulated. I mean, once liquor is produced, you've got your cases of liquor stacked up. Before it's transported, it can only be stored in a bonded warehouse. So either the distillery or a separate warehousing establishment that is bonded to store liquor. When you transport it, it can only go in trucks that have certain permits. Not every trucker can haul liquor, and we can't. Mike and I can't transport it ourselves. Um, it's got to, when it's received, it's got to go into a bonded warehouse. It's just the regulations, the regulatory framework for this really is pretty intense. I mean, it's so anybody that thinks they want to get in this business, before you commit funds, commit time to research and make sure you're willing to do all that.
Yeah,
I
and
will say
understand all
that.
the taxes. There's taxes every step of the way.
Yeah.
That's why it's regulated, because you pay tax.
Yeah, but that's good what you said. You learn, get into it, research, because I know
Right.
we sit down and we're like, well, I want to venture on something new. Whoa, liquor or this and that, and sometimes we just jump in, and then that's when you give up. You're like, oh man, you needed to do this and this. Forget that. That's too much work. But you're right. Just before that, do the research, learn it, and like, all right, it's gonna be a lot of work, but I already researched it. So let's go. Let's see who I can connect and help me out, and then we go around the path.
Well, and for any business you want to get into, and this is definitely newer for me, just given my military background. I mean, I wasn't in private business in the military, that's for certain. Um, you've got to research whatever it is and make sure that you're willing to put forth that time and effort. And then the other thing is talk to people who are in the industry. I mean, whatever industry it is, we've met a lot of people who are happy to share stories with us and tell you things that will help you get started. And they're not going to do the work for you, but there's definitely encouragement out there. And it's never too early to start networking, because you never know where that's going to take you.
Right.
And Mike mentioned a good friend of mine back in Austin, Texas. I hope it's okay if I plug his restaurants here on the show.
Yeah.
His name's Pete Clark, and he owns 2 Cafe Blue locations in Austin, and then also Sundancer on Lake Travis. And I will tell you, having eaten at all of his restaurants, the food is fantastic.
Excellent.
Oh my gosh, you're not going to get a better meal. So if you're in Austin and looking for really nice meals, definitely Cafe Blue. If you're near Lake Travis and you're looking for fine food but a very casual atmosphere, stop by Sundancer. But Pete and I have been friends since 11th grade, and we've stayed in touch over the years. And he's been a very successful businessman. Not just in that, he also owns Just for Fun, renting out jet skis, ski boats, party barges on Lake Travis. And he's probably in any other number of businesses that I'm not currently aware of. But Pete's very generous with his time, and he has helped out other friends of ours, as they branched into their own business, and just given his experiences. And we've met other people who either through Pete or through Mike or through myself, and you sit down and start asking them, how did you do this? How did this work? And people will, they will share that with you. I mean, we would talk to people. We're not going to share our trade secrets, our bourbon recipe and stuff, but we're looking to help people. It's just, if you help people out, it's always a good thing. And we'd like to see everybody in this industry and every other industry be successful, because at the end of the day, that contributes to America being successful.
Yeah, that's very true. I would like see if we can I can get the information with you from Pete. I would love to get him in the interview him too, because
Sure.
I know I just recently met a guy. He's from Austin too. His name is Scott, and I've been trying. He's been busy, so I know I've been trying to get him here in an interview. But I mean, one of these days I want to go to Austin, and this is so perfect. It is, you said he has the restaurant, so that would be cool. Interview him and the other guy. He's from Austin too, and he
Mhm.
does a lot of things with kids, and that's like my number one thing. It's with the kids. That's the next generations. The kids, our sons, our daughters. The other kids. They're the next president, the next CEO of Starbucks. So we got to pay attention to them too, and find and follow their dreams from our kids, because my daughter, she's 8, and I didn't even know she was following my footsteps. I didn't know she wanted to be a YouTuber and all of this. And I'm like, now that she tells me, and I'm like, okay, I'm listening, because I'm that kind of parent that I'm gonna let you do what you need to do. And if I
Mhm.
soccer, and you don't like soccer, that's fine. Baseball, she did baseball, she got hit, and she's like, she got scared of the ball. She's like, I ain't doing this no more. So, but that's something that we have to experience. That's what I tell parents. Like, it's sometimes we think, oh, I already wasted so much money for you to go to soccer or basketball or karate. Don't think about it that way. Some way in there, they're gonna find out where they fit, where your son or daughter fit. That, oh, I really like karate, I want to stay here, or like I want to be a YouTuber, or I want to help somebody color, teach them how to color or draw. So we got to give them that opportunity too. And I see that's not happening with a lot of the parents. That's how we see the kids over there, the shootouts, or kids doing a lot of
Well,
drugs.
it's a good management principle, especially when you're teaching children. It also applies to your business. Joe and I, we go talk to somebody and they say no, and we say thank you very much, because they're not wasting our time. If they say no, I'm not interested, or no, that doesn't apply to me, that's okay. Thank you for not wasting my time. I promise you I won't waste your time anymore. A yes is a good answer. A no is a good answer. A maybe, I'll think about it. I'll call you next week. Well, let me think about it. And, maybe if the sun is shining, I'll call you. It's like, that's the worst answer you can get. But a yes or no is like, every day is precious. So just don't waste my time. You won't. In tasting, some people have said, I only like vodka. I really don't. I said, that's fine. You want to try? You can try it if you like. We give tastings to everybody in the liquor store. It's fine. If they say, well, I really prefer vodka, I'm not a bourbon person, and they say, well, okay, it's smooth, it's everything you said it was, but I still like vodka better. It's like, okay, thank you, no problem.
Yeah.
Have a nice day. Thanks for trying.
If you have any friends who are bourbon drinkers, I'd appreciate it if you tell them about our product.
That's the very next thing I say. And they say, actually, as a matter of fact, I do. One lady said, I don't drink, I don't touch this stuff, but my husband loves it. He'll be back later on.
See?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Swinging by. I mean, and we don't expect to sell to every single person in the world, and that would be wonderful, but that's not realistic. But we do expect to do what we tell people we're going to do. We're going to produce a premium bourbon. It's a great bourbon. It's smooth. It's got a wonderful flavor. We're going to take out of our profits. We're going to donate to military charities. And then kind of our third and unofficial goal is Mike and I are going to have fun while we do this. I mean, because if you're not having fun doing it, something's wrong. You got to figure that out quick.
Vicky says, I'm not a bourbon person, and I like it too.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna find somebody, because like you were saying, Mike, when I was there with him just this past Saturday, that was that guy that said, right, I'm a vodka guy, but he tried it and he said, okay. And you said, thank you. It's just, you're not gonna force nobody. They just tried it. That's fine.
Well, the other, and thanks Vicky for bringing this up, but the women are also large purchasers, and they have family in the military, they have sons and daughters and aunts and uncles and brothers and cousins, etc. So when we talk about this and our service and our charity applies to a lot of people at a lot of time, and especially in Texas, there's probably every family you talk to has some relative or cousin in the military somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That resonates, but we extend beyond just the selfish reasons that you want to buy a drink and have fun. It's like there's a lot more to our mission than just business. We never did this just for the business. We did this for multiple missions that have to be simultaneous, and that's, I think, what really resonates.
That's good. And like you said, you're not doing it just because it's good money or anything, because you got into it because you like the process. You like this. So this is something that I tell sometimes friends or something that trying to get in a business, and they only see it because, oh man, that industry is making a lot of money. And I'm like, don't get in it just because it's just a lot of money.
Yeah.
Get in it because you like it. It's the process that you're gonna go through, the people that you're gonna meet. If you're just in it for the money on the road, you're gonna feel miserable, and then you're gonna be like, this wasn't for me. It was just for the money, and you're never gonna get it because things take a long time.
Right.
People want it today, they want it tomorrow, but they don't know the back work, how many years you did it. Like me, I've been doing this since 2000, and I started somewhere around 2015 until now. I see a lot of the good things happening, but look how it looks 2020.
Mhm.
Right.
We're in the middle of COVID, and then a lot of great things are happening for me. And it's just like, wow, it's just amazing. But it's all the work that you put, all those failings, all the process. But I love it. I'm not doing
Yeah.
it because of thinking about the money. I love it because how much I can help people, bring them into the platform, other people meeting, all these people, the viewers watching us, all these people still sharing it as we're watching right now and about to finish. They're still sharing and they're still coming. So to me, that's what makes me happy. Like
Well,
somebody's,
yeah.
yep.
If you've ever built a house or watched somebody build a house, you know that you got to get the permits in advance. It's got to be platted and plotted, and you need a permit for this, you need a permit for water, sewer, electrical, etc. And then, of course, the foundation. And we're still building a foundation. That takes months and months. And then one week you go back, and all of a sudden, then there's sticks up, and it looks like a house. And you say, "Wow, that was fast." It was like, no, not really. No, it was like 6 months of planning and putting the foundation in before you even know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. That's like they're watching us. People are watching us right now. There's other people that we don't know who's watching. That's how when I do it, I'm like, there's somebody out there watching us, somebody out there listening. You never know who's gonna go out there and reach you after this or later. It's like, you know what, guys, I really like this. I want to collaborate. The money is not the problem with me. How can I help you? How can I fund you? How can I do this? So it's always good to be out there in the lookout on the listening and be like, yeah, man, let's sit down, let's have a virtual meeting, or let's go out for lunch, dinner. Let's talk about it. Let's know each other first.
Exactly. And I want to go back, like you were saying, to anybody who's thinking about starting a business. If you don't love the business you're about to start, you need to stop and think real hard about what you're doing, because I mean, maybe somebody, I guess there are some people who they start a business and then a week later they've got this booming success. And kind of like, yes, there are people that win the giant lotteries,
Hmm.
but that doesn't happen for 99.99% of the people. And you better be prepared to put in all the hard work, take every single step that makes you successful. And, if you're not, maybe that's not the right industry. And I'm not trying to discourage anybody. I'm just saying, be realistic, be honest with yourself, because if you're deceiving yourself, you're going to have a problem, and that's not going to be good for you.
Mm-mm. And you're right. You're very true. You gotta kind of find out where you're gonna go through, and find out that is for you. I mean, I jumped in. I mean, I did. I had a business before of pressure washing, but I really liked it and everything. But I hurt my back, and I was like, it's not gonna help me. I was out for 2-3 months, and I did had employees and everything, but the people wanted me, and it sucked because when you do a really good job, they want you. And I was like, man, I really want to take out myself out the picture and do marketing outside and get more business out here. But I realized that that wasn't for me. I was like, yes, I really liked it and loved it because it was fun. I changed the little niche on the power washing because I was doing video.
Mhm.
And the much I was doing the videos, it was fun videos. It was me, but we were working. We were making the house or the driver making it clean. But it was like a show time on a video, like I'm doing here interviews. But
Mhm.
so it was something that nobody was out there doing. So I had people asking me, "You're cool. You're doing these videos and you're still making and people liking." And I was getting referrals, but it wasn't really for me. I mean, and that's what I tell
Mhm.
people: don't give up on yourself. Even if I gave up on that business, I knew that that wasn't for me, but I did it. I tried it. It went out there. It went good. I did what I did. Now I jumped out and I wanted to sell clothing. I spent so much money on buying clothing I didn't even know nothing about, and I lost money on that. And at the end of the day, I didn't even do anything. I did the business cards, and I think I have them somewhere in my room, and nothing happened. But that's us as entrepreneurs. We're not giving up. We might jump.
Mhm.
It might not work, and you, because you sometimes see it that is making money, you want to jump in. But like you said, you got to research.
Right.
I didn't do no research on the clothing. I just knew it
Mhm.
works. But I just jumped in and started spending money on it. And at the end of the day, all that clothes that I had, I just gave it away for free to people that needed it.
Sure. Well, but look at the experience you gained with the video and the power washing, and where that clearly has taken you now.
Yeah, and it makes me happy because I always tell people to do not close the book of the past, because all of those businesses, all of the things I think the failures are the best things. All of the things that failures bring you up to be successful, but all of those
Mhm.
failures, those are the valuable lessons that you're taking with you, and you are the only one that knows. Damn, I failed that, but it's okay, man. I'm still going. Life is still going. The world is still going. I'm still gonna go ahead and do what I gotta do next. Period.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you
And
don't learn anything from success. There are some people that, like Joe says, they win the lottery. They have no idea why. They just won the lottery. It's like, great, your business is a success, but 6 months from now or a year from now, because you've never had those failures, that business might turn around and head south, and you won't know how to save it for reasons like COVID, unexpected reasons. But
Mhm.
if you've gone through the school of hard knocks and you've had your share of lessons and disappointments, I hope and I pray that you learn something from it and use that to be a success in the future.
oh yeah. So I'm just gonna finish up with this, guys. Everybody
Yeah,
that is
please.
starting business or anything right now, I mean, just jump in it. But do your research, like we were talking about it, if that really
Right.
was your passion. But
Mhm.
jump in it. Forget about the fear, forget about the afraidness. That stuff is gonna hold you back. Trust me, all of us right here, we
Right.
had that at that time. I had it. And what if, and all negative and this. No, man, just jump in it and just figure it out. And figure it out by you walking the day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you'll see if it is really for you or not. And it kind of bounces for everything in life. Either you gonna like that girl, you gotta figure out if it's for you. You're gonna go to dates. You're gonna go to this church. You gotta figure out. It kind of goes and jumps in every aspects of
Right.
life.
Mhm.
But that's me ending with you guys. I hope y'all got something, the viewers and the ones that are still watching live, and the hashtag people that are gonna watch a replay, that y'all got something from today. Not only about business, but about how we can, collaborate and help each other, but something about life that hits
Sure.
your heart, and that you're gonna move forward with it.
Well, and likewise too, part of us giving back is, if there's anybody else out there that wants to contact, Jesus, we can talk about, giving other people advice. So all, what goes around comes around. So we're happy to, to share what we know about business and working with vendors and the usual stuff. To help
Mhm.
other people as much as we can.
Oh yeah, and remember, guys, it is good when we give a lot of information, a lot of value for free. But
Mhm.
sometimes some of the stuff that we're not giving is like when we make courses or we're gonna make something, you gotta pay for. Everybody gotta eat. We cannot give you everything for free and put it on a plate
Right.
and you gotta eat it. I mean, trust me, I had to invest on how to get the mic, how to get all the stuff. I had to pay and learn from other podcasters and stuff. They
Right.
gave me for value, but you had to pay. That's when the it meets in the middle, when other people are like, oh, I'm not gonna pay.
Right.
That's fine. Like, just like you said, Joe, it's not for everybody. 8 billion people in the world, man. We're gonna, at least if we expect a little of the pie and we help
Mhm.
somebody and create something, that's perfectly fine.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you want to end up with something, Joe, for the audience? before we
All I'd like to say is thank you so much for having us on and supporting us. We really appreciate it. Hopefully I'll get back to Houston here soon, have a chance to meet you in person. But thank you, for doing this virtually, and we really appreciate your help.
Oh, thank you guys. And I'll see you back here when you come back to Houston. And then me and Mike can go to Florida and just walk in the
Sure.
beach, have some fun. I miss the beach, man. That's the
Come
only thing I
anytime.
miss from Houston. Galveston is not the same, but when you go to
No.
Odessa, Florida, and all of those, the water, that's what I love. I think that's when it creates me and more ideas, and it just kind of like,
Mhm.
and then you come back to business, you're like, let's rock it.
Exactly. Sounds good.
Thank you guys. And like I said,
Thank
any
you.
questions or anything, Mike has my number. Just pass it to Joe and just
Sure.
text me, and we can make it happen. Thank you, guys.
Excellent.
Great. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Have a great day.
Have a blessed
Bye-bye.
day.
You too.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Goodbye.
Hey, guys. Wow, what an amazing show. Did y'all like it? Give me any feedbacks. I know y'all loved it. I know I did. I know I got a lot of stuff in my mind right now of what we learned today. And we learned a lot today. Hashtag humble power. We went out in an hour and 6 minutes. So it was an amazing show. Any questions that y'all got? I know I had a lot of comments. I know a lot of people are still watching. Hashtag replay, hashtag live, hashtag share. Thank you very much. Like I said, now I changed the game. Now I'm having my show is only gonna be on Mondays and Fridays. So you don't want to miss none of the good content that I'm gonna have Mondays and Fridays. Like today, we had an amazing show with Mike and Joe, the creators, the owners of Big Tick Spirits right here. And you're here in Houston, you gotta go get yourself a bottle. Trust me. And I'm telling you, and when you and I say trust me, like, come on, I have it right here. I've been drinking it. My mom loves it. Everybody loves it here. Trust me. Go get this. You're gonna love it. I just know it. And anything else, you got any questions? Like I said, do not miss the show. It's gonna be Monday and Fridays at 10 a.m. And there's a lot of things coming that I'm not even gonna tell you guys. Like you see running right here on the bottom, it says hashtag lightweight coming soon. It's just gonna be amazing. We're gonna have our own network. It's just gonna be mind blowing. And we're here to stay. And I want to create a lot of stuff here to help here in Houston, because that's what I've been having from a lot of my friends telling me, yes, people know you in LA, in Chicago, because you got interviewing everybody, but interview a lot of more businesses here in your state. Grow yourself. You'll get well known here in Houston, Texas. And guess what? That's what I'm doing. And guess what? That's why the lightweight is coming soon. And guess what? It's going to be an amazing. You got to get in the train. You got to get in the car and come with us. I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. I already have so many meetings with branding, you name it, all of it. The thing is going to be we're gonna have people running the branding. We're gonna have people running everything. It's it's gonna be an umbrella, man. Yeraldy Media is still there, but the name Lightweight is on the top, and it's just gonna be spread out like spider webs. It's coming soon. I mean, every time I'm gonna be start telling you, hey, Lightweight is coming soon. It's on the works. The name, the LLC is about to get bought. The name is already the domain, everything. So, guys, any questions, anything you want to be interviewing here, any businesses that is watching from Houston, Texas, let me know. Monday and Fridays, do not miss it. Monday and Fridays at 10 a.m. Monday and Fridays, that's it. I created that so I have more time for me to go out there in Houston and make myself well known and get myself to help more people. And a lot of things are happening and a lot of things are coming. Thank you, guys, and I love you. And yeah, have a blessed Monday. It is Monday, right, man? See my days, I don't even know. Blessed Monday. And then, like I said again, any questions, just push it out here. I'm gonna reread all the questions and go back to the comments and write something down, because that's what it means for you, that you go out there and read it and put something down, because it truthfully, out of my heart, I like everybody that is watching us. That is the viewers are growing every day, and today I see it in the comments and everything, and it's a blessing. Thank you, guys, and y'all keep on rocking it and y'all keep on pushing it. And your boy Jesus Ortiz from the Push Power Show is out.